Hi, I'm Violet, and this is Now and Then Stories. Each week, I share the stories I write, tales of love, chance, and the quiet turns of life that sometimes change everything. This week's story is called A Stranger to Me. I've always been proud of how well I endure things. If there's a storm, I find a roof. If the roof leaks, I find a bucket. If the bucket breaks, I stand in the rain and tell myself it's fine. Water never killed anyone. That's what I've been doing most of my life, really. Patching things, surviving them, keeping my head down and my hands busy. You can live like that for a long time before you notice the cost. It's not that I've had a bad life. I've just lived it like a checklist. Work, bills, maintenance, sleep, repeat. I built myself into something efficient and unbreakable. I used to think that it was strength. But lately, I've felt like a ghost moving through my own routine, the kind that keeps the lights on but never looks around to see what they're illuminating. It happened on a Sunday afternoon, the kind of quiet day when time feels a little too slow. I was cleaning out the hall closet, a job I'd put off for months, sorting through old coats, tangled scarves, mismatched shoes. That's when I found the box. It was small and dented, the kind that might have once held a pair of boots. Inside were the odd remains of younger years, a broken watch, a lanyard from a job I barely remembered, ticket stubs from a concert that smelled faintly of cigarette smoke and night air, and under those, a photograph. It was me, standing beside my first car. The picture was faded, the colors washed to sepia, but the memory came back clear as heat. I was 19, wearing a floral tank top and jeans with oil on the knees. My hair was sun-streaked, a little wild, and my grin was so wide it looked like defiance. Behind me was that old red Chevy, my first real freedom. It was taken in late summer, the day I'd bought it for $600 from a mechanic who told me it ran like it wanted to. And it did. It rattled and coughed and drank oil like coffee, but it was mine. That mattered more than anything. Looking at that picture, I didn't feel nostalgia. I felt estrangement. I didn't recognize her. Not because of age, though time had certainly had its say, but because of everything else. The looseness in her shoulders, the spark in her eyes, the way she seemed to belong in her own skin. I tried to remember what it felt like to be her and failed. I sat on the floor, still holding the photo, surrounded by half-folded coats and boxes that suddenly felt heavier. The woman I saw in that picture had no idea what was coming. The years of exhaustion, of bending herself into shapes that would fit into other people's expectations. She had no clue how easily confidence could dissolve into competence and how quietly joy could be replaced by duty. Back then, I believed in momentum, that if you just kept moving, you'd eventually end up somewhere worth being. And I did keep moving. Through the end of college, through the long commutes and promotions, through a marriage that began as comfort and ended as quiet misunderstanding, through layoffs, through loss, through endless cycles of starting over. I told myself I was doing well, that survival was victory enough. But somewhere in the middle of all that endurance, I think I lost the part of me that was alive for its own sake. I traced the photo's edge with my thumb. It had curled slightly with time, like it was trying to fold in on itself. That girl in the picture, she used to sing while she drove. She'd go too fast down back roads just to feel the wind in her hair. She believed in possibility, in small rebellions, in the idea that happiness was something you could reach out and grab if you were brave enough. Now I double-check the locks twice before bed and schedule joy into calendar slots I usually cancel. There's a kind of comfort in the routine, but it's a cold one. The comfort of knowing nothing unexpected will happen because you no longer expect anything at all. It's strange how quietly that change happens. There's no single moment where you trade wonder for endurance. It's just a long, slow bargain you forget you're making. I placed the photograph on the counter later that evening near the lamp where the light caught it at an angle. I couldn't stop glancing at it as I moved through the house, from kitchen sink to the hallway, from folding laundry to brushing my teeth. That smile followed me, not accusing, not wistful, just waiting. At some point, I realized I hadn't looked at myself in weeks, really looked. So I did. In the reflection of the window, I saw a woman with careful hair and steady hands. a woman who'd built her life on practicality and survived every storm that had come her way. She was capable, composed, and almost entirely hollow. It wasn't despair I felt, just an ache, the quiet recognition that somewhere along the line I'd become unrecognizable to myself. I stood there for a long time, staring at both reflections, the photo in the light and the faint shape in the glass, two lives that shared a name but not a heartbeat. The unraveling didn't come as panic or tears, it came as stillness. I turned off the lights. The house went dark except for the small glow of the street lamp outside. In that dim wash of light, the photograph seemed to shimmer, caught halfway between memory and ghost. And I thought, maybe this is what it means to lose yourself, not to vanish, but to keep existing long after the reasons for doing so have faded. I don't want to be her again, that fearless girl who believed freedom meant speed, but I want to feel what she felt when she believed her life was hers to shape. So I took the photograph and pinned it to the corkboard above my desk, not as a monument to the past, but as a question. Who am I now when there's no storm to survive? The next morning, I woke before the alarm. The house was still, the first light just beginning to outline the window blinds. For a long time, I just lay there, listening to the quiet hum of the refrigerator, the faint creak of the pipes, the small sounds of life still moving. It wasn't resolution, but recognition. And for the first time in years, I didn't reach for my phone. I didn't start the day with a list. I just sat there and breathed, aware of the stillness, aware of myself. The photograph was waiting in the next room, a young woman beside a rusted red Chevy, looking straight into the camera as if she already knew she'd be remembered. She didn't need saving. She just needed to be seen again. And in that faint morning light, I finally did. The end. Thank you for listening to Now and Then Stories with Violet. If this story spoke to you, I hope you'll stay a while. There are always more moments waiting to be found between now and then.